Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If it's your first time visiting the channel, my hands are not bleeding that bad today. I did soak them again in petroleum jelly for 5 or 6 hours, so that's a good, it's going to be a good week for the hands. And if you're new to the channel, I'm going to be doing what I do every single week, day in and day out, which is crafting rats, which is my passion, my hobby, and my career. Unless you're my brother, if that's the case, you already know I work in Jakarta. Not in Jakarta, I work for a company based in Jakarta. It's a very long story. Anyway, today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to make this rat, I'm going to bake this rat, then I'm going to paint the rat separately. Instead of using black clay or brown clay, this is going to be white clay, but it's not going to be a white rat. So we'll show you a different process on this than what I normally do. And if you have any rat colors you'd like to see, as long as it's nothing too outrageous, you can comment that and I will see what I can do. But let's keep it at least slightly realistic, or because I don't want to besmirch, or I don't want the rat's name to be tarnished and made a fool out of, the name of the rat. The species, not the, you understand what I'm saying. So this rat is going to be a little bit of a quicker rat today. A little bit of a quicker rat. So we're just going to find that rat in the clay. The rat is already in the clay, but you have to just make it happen. You have to just find that rat. There are a lot of things in the clay right now. There are possibly people in the clay. There are rats in the clay. There's definitely a baseball or tennis ball somewhere in the clay. But today we're going to find the rat in the clay. So today this clay will live the life of a rat. Okay, again, you guys already know when I say it's going to be a quick rat, I mean it, and almost always falls through. But today it really is going to be what I call a rapid fire rat. Rapid fire rat. I did have a suggestion to do a rabid rat, which maybe I will do that. That does sound like it'd make a nice piece for somebody. Unfortunately, rabies still does strike down quite a few number of people, a shocking amount for the developed world, and I can only imagine in less fortunate countries the amount of rabies they must battle. So it's a pretty good rat right there. I'm going to do something a little bit different than what you've seen so far on the channel. This is not a new technique, but this is something that I don't believe I've done on the channel. I give this rat a little bit of a chin. These are where the eyes are going to go, but they're not the eyes. I need a lot of clay here so I can make kind of divots in the eye section, just to make it kind of a bonier rat. We're going to give it a kind of a gaunt look. So what I'm doing is I'm heightening the face, and right here I'll show you, this will be where the eyes will go. So these are more like, think of this as the orbitals if you're thinking of human anatomy. Of course, I don't know if it's the same name for rats, but essentially what I'm building is the eye bone structure, and then I will show you what we're going to do with that. I don't normally do tutorials or anything like that, but a lot of people have been wondering about a few of the things I'm doing. So if you have any questions about any of the techniques you're seeing, let me know. And I lost my rat. I think I'm at the bottom. I think the bottom is right here. Let's get that rat back. Okay, I see it. I see the rat. So we're going to go a little gaunt, so I want to push in right here just a little bit. We're not going Civil War gaunt, we're just going to go slightly gaunt. We're not going to go over the top here. Okay, so you see, these are going to be, you're going to be kind of the jawline right here. See the chin forming right here. And again, I apologize if I'm going in and out of frame. I need to get on the. Yep, I do have autofocus on this camera, but I do not prefer it. Okay, so you kind of see this rat has like a little bit of a sunken in face. Now what I'm going to do here, this is where it gets to be a little bit more of a advanced technique of visualization. Is what you want to do is, once you got your rat shaped up how you want it, just go ahead and smooth everything out. And if you can still see it, we got kind of a cranial ridge right here. Boom. And these are here and here. Point them out. Here and here are kind of the little sections we laid out earlier where the eyes are going to go. So what I'm going to do, I want these eyes to be caved in, kind of bulging eyes. And let me see if I have something. I'm looking at a lot of clay figures here. I'm looking to see if I have anything remotely similar to what I'm describing here, and I don't. So we'll see if we can just make it happen. I'm going to give it kind of a larger bulging eye. So I'm going to take this, any tool you got, any rounded edge, and I'm going to go right to where we made that section and create kind of a bulging eye. Now you see the gauntness of the face. Now the jawline presents itself. Now you can see what I was working on here. Jawline's right here, chin is right here, second jawline is right here. Let's see if this second eye goes as smooth as the first. And the only reason I worry about it is because it's got a little bit less clay there. So we're just going to get a pretty good lineup. Doesn't have to be perfect, folks. And place it, and we're going to have to drag it a little bit out because this one slid down a little bit. And you can still do that. It's not too late. So there you go. That's pretty good. So now you see what we're working with. We got a gaunt rat. Pull back. We do not want this rat to be heavy set. So you see I got a little bit too much rat fat there. So what I will do is make this a rounded base, which I do enjoy those structural qualities of the rat, depending on, every rat has its own structure that it should have. This is what I mean by kind of a rounded base rat. It's going to be a taller rat, and it's going to have, you see how it looks like it's hanging on a wall as a trophy. And in fact, you could hang this on the wall as a trophy, but I wouldn't, it's offensive to the rat. But for now, what I'm going to do is just keep it as thin as I can. I don't want to go too thick here. And again, I don't know what color this rat will be, but I can tell you we are going to get it to look exactly how we want. We're going to widen this a little bit. And there you go. You can see we're getting pretty close to what we want. Now I'm going to form the base of the rat. I'm going to push that down. We want this to be a wall hanging style rat. I'm going to go ahead and give the rat the mouth. We're going to bring that in just a little bit. We don't want it to be superhero gaunt. We just want it to be slightly Civil War gaunt. Slightly. A little bit higher here. Carve it out. Just visualize it and carve it out. That's all you got to do with these rats. And I think I need to actually move that chin over. There we go. Now actually what I could do with this is I could put the mouth, this is something I might do here, or I might do it on another rat, but I could make this, and I'm highly considering doing this right now. I could make a nose. You gotta visualize the rat. The rat is now showing me that I can make this the nose. So you would see the rat this way. Nose, and the mouth would be under. Mouth, it would be nose, like this, and mouth like this. And that way you would have your rat hanging on the wall like this, if that makes any sense. As a matter of fact, now that I'm seeing that as an option, I think I might just give it a try, and if not, we can just cut this nose off. This looks more like a kind of a mosquito almost, though. So I am a little bit questioning this a little bit here. I do like the concept quite a bit, though. So right now we just got a gaunt rat with a... This is why these rats always end up taking me all day, because you can see so many different ways you can go with the rat. The original plan was this. We're going to do... And I think I'm going to stick with the original plan on this rat. So we'll make a nose. I like to just make kind of a thick triangle, because you're going to need room to... You're going to need extra clay, because it pulls in all directions here. And it becomes, you see what I mean? It's already... The noses have become a little more taxing lately. I don't know if something has changed about the clay or what, but the noses have been a little bit more of a struggle in recent rats. You don't want to destroy any of the structure that we've already built, so just take your time here. It's not a rat race. Okay, what we're going to do is build this down, blend it in, just like we always do in this channel, very lightly, and we're using just by hand. You can sand this, I will note, but I do not have any need to. I like the rats to be kind of raw and just kind of come as you are style rats, you know. I think those who get it will appreciate that these rats are handmade, and you can see some imperfections in your rat when you get it, but what you see is what you get. You know what you get before you order. You can watch the videos, you can see me. And I continue to talk about selling these rats, but to date I have not had the courage to sell any of my rats because, well, not lately, not on YouTube. It's really just a lot. It's a big ask for me to get rid of these guys. Real big ask. I still do have quite a few of them, and it's going to be real hard for me to let them go. I like to give this one a little bit more of a cartoony nose. Let me try to give it a little pinch here. Kind of a little bulb on the end of the nose like you see in many rats. I'm going to go a little bit smaller on the mouth. And it is kind of work this stuff so it's not so harsh. You don't want harsh features on the rat. That could take away from take away from the effect of the rat. Kind of weaken up some of these features. I still want them to be very apparent, but I do not want them to be overwhelming. So I'm now brushing all the features back very lightly, and you can This is a give and take process, so if you take too much off of what you're looking for, the look you're going for, I should say, then you can always bring it back and dial it back in. It's not that big of a deal, folks. It is just rats at the end of the day. It is just rats. So what I'm doing here is just kind of determining what I want this rat. I like to press the lips out and then I kind of shape them afterwards. So obviously I do give many of my rats a little bit of a scowl. Not like it, that's a little too crazy looking, so bring that back up, blend these sides in a little bit, and I think we are pretty close to good to go here. You got a little bit of a scowl on this one. Nothing too crazy. Clean this up one more time. And we'll take a look at what we're working with. I might need to get in there with the alcohol brush a little bit, just for a brief second. You can see that's a pretty decent rat from the side. I do see that this has somehow become a little bit discolored, the clay, and that's okay because again, this is going to be painted, so we don't know what color this rat is going to be yet. And the rat is shaping up pretty nicely. You want to you do not want excess clay if you don't need it. You want the rat to be uniform, needs to still stand out, but you want it to be slightly uniform on the way that it sits and the way that it's created. So it can be unique. You can still press it down. You can do whatever you want to do, but the base should at least be mostly equal around the edges, around the sides. So, got 2 ears, basic ears. We're going to fix this eye a little bit. This eye is going all over the place. Okay, that's a little bit better. I think I'll bring this one down a little tiny bit. There we go. Bring it back up a little smidge. That's about good. And these ears might be too small for this. No, I think they fit. I think they fit this rat, personality-wise. So what I'm doing, my new technique with the ears that you've probably seen, is just to get the ears in from the front and just make sure that they're fully secured to the rat. And obviously my other important tip for ears, if you've watched any of my videos, is it is not the end of the world if your ears are slightly uneven. In fact, most humans' ears, if you examine them, are not perfectly symmetrical. So why in the hell would you want to make your rats perfectly symmetrical? You want your rats to be individuals. Every person has a fingerprint, every rat has a paw print. Okay, now he's looking a little bit upset on this eye, so I think I'm going to pull that out. Pull that up a little bit. I don't want to go overboard, but I'm going to pull that up a little bit. Okay, now let's get a side view of that rat. Nice, I like it. And get a side view of that rat. Okay. And let's see, brush it clean here. And I would say that's a really good rat overall. And we're going to bring that up a little bit one more time because it does look like it's ready to start collapsing on me. I like that rat. Okay, so that rat's gonna, oh, and the other thing about this rat, I do have, let's see, I did go back to the bake shop clay for the eyes, and I did go and get red bake shop clay, because the red, painting the rat's eyes, well, you know, red is not the most ideal, because then you risk the chance, you run the risk of getting that paint on the eye sockets and things of that nature. So really, you know, to me, it's just get the clay in the color that you're looking to make those eyes. So what I'm going to do is we're going to bake this rat, we're going to paint it. We don't know what color yet, and again, you can leave your suggestions in the comments below, and if you know, if it's a reasonable suggestion, we might make a rat in that color. But for now, we'll put this in the oven and we will come back after these short messages. Okay, so we are back from the oven. I wiped the table off a little bit, and this rat, I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna be doing something with this one. You see, I have not put the eyes in this rat yet, and that is because we're gonna be painting this rat custom color, and I think I'm gonna make him kind of a Louis color scheme. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of brown, a little bit of orange. You don't want it to be overwhelming here. You don't want it to be an ugly color, but you don't want it to be an overwhelming color either. Do it kind of a basic Louis coating here. And I think I might actually be better off just going full orange on this one. That's what we're going to do. I'm not going to get into all this color mixing when I think I have, I apologize, I'm not going to get into all this color mixing when I have this Mars orange that is basically, oh, that's way too much. Basically going to do the job that I'm looking for here. Okay. So what's cool about this rat is we haven't put the eyes in, so we should take advantage of that fact by making one of the eyes one of the spots. So what we're doing is we're giving this rat spots, if you haven't noticed, or haven't figured out that. You want the spots to be a little more natural than this, I think. I think I went a little overboard on this here already. I'm going to try to rein it back in. I'm going to try to rein it in. And I might need to add some white because this is looking a little bit translucent. Do not want it to be translucent. So a good opacity builder is white. We're just going to bring the opacity up. And if you wanted to, you could use 2 coats. But I think we're just going to do one nice. We might do this whole rat this color because this is going to be a lot of work to sort out. So what we'll do is we will do this whole rat this color, but in the future we will be pre-mixing our colors and getting the right color for our rat. And this is not the color I wanted, but sometimes you gotta roll with it, and I guarantee you we still make this come out looking pretty cool. I still have this come out looking decent. Just, you want a thin coat if possible. Alright, I'll actually switch over my brush to something where I can get more even coverage. Sorry, I got a mess over here. So see, this will give me kind of an even coat, more even coverage. We will just full orange on this rat. I don't know if this is too, I think this might be too orange. I'm starting to think it is too orange, but yeah, I think it should be a little more brown. But for right now, because I am trying to have these rats kind of natural colors, at least fairly close to natural colors. You don't want to go too far, you don't want to deviate too far. Then the customers will, obviously, as you know, as they do, they will use that to complain. Any material you give them to complain about, I guarantee you, it shall be complained about. So I think this might be a little bit too orange if I had to guess. This looks like a, this looks like Kraft macaroni. Or the real Jersey kids will know, ShopRite macaroni is what this looks like. ShopRite mac and cheese. We can keep it like this and see how it turns out. If we can make it work, I don't think it's impossible. However, our other option would be to mix a little bit of this brown in. Let's see if we can get more of a kind of orangey brown color for that rat. And I think that's what we'll end up doing, because you do not want a rat that's too unrealistic. You don't want to get too over the top with these bastards. And so maybe we'll just give him this kind of, this is almost more of a gerbil color, I think, but I think it is a little bit better than just having a fully orange Halloween rat. I do apologize for leading you down the wrong path with that orange color. That was very, very strong color. But actually, you know, now that I'm looking at it, this might actually be a perfect, so we might have just fallen into another kind of win right here. Because what I'm thinking, now that I look at this filthy little rat, this beat up rat, you can see the rat is very gaunt, as you remember. In our Kraft hunt, we wanted a gaunt rat, and I think that served us well, because I do think, now looking at this rat, that we might be looking at our first naked rat, folks. Big first on the channel. Huge moment for the channel right now. Huge moment right now for the channel, folks. We might be looking at our very first naked rat right now, and I think we are. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of get it evenly painted. And I think that orange base coat did not help our case, but as far as getting a realistic color, I was going for a very specific Louis colored rat, which would have been very cool, but we're not getting a Louis rat today. We will eventually get one, but for now we are we're going to do our very first naked rat, which maybe it was time. We knew it was coming, and now we're finally here. We're at that moment. Okay, so I will leave this to dry, and when we come back, we're gonna pop the eyes in there and get this bad boy back in the oven for a very quick, just 5-minute, just a 5-minute roast, and we will come back and see where we're at. Just getting the paint as even as I can. Okay, we will be right back. Okay, so we are back to quickly finish this one up. This is the one that was supposed to be our naked rat, but I'll tell you, if your heart's not in it, you know, and this isn't just rat advice I'm about to give you. If something feels off with anything in life, you need to follow your gut. And what I'll tell you is, my gut was telling me that the naked rat color wasn't going to be good for this specific rat, and I don't think it looked that great overall, so we just change it real quick to black, white, and red rat. I think this does look pretty good. I think I like the way this looks a lot better. And real quickly I will, I think I'll do the whiskers, because really all I have to paint is the ears on this one. I might do one little tear coming off of this. No, I'm not going to. I'm just going to do the whiskers. So go to your whisker pile at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to want 6 whiskers if you got 6 whisker holes. So basically you're going to want as many whisker holes as you got. Other way around, as many whiskers as you got whisker holes. Place the whisker where. Oh, careful, careful. Easy, easy, easy. Rein that whisker in. Rein that whisker in. You're going to want to place that whisker. Get it positioned where you want it. Some of them take a second, some of them don't take as long. They kind of form into place. And that one wasn't that bad. Sometimes they're worse, as you know if you're a long-time viewer. And the trick is, again, you gotta be very zen with the rat. You gotta be super zen about your rats. If it's not entirely what you want, that's okay. It's not always gonna be perfect, but you can just do your best. And you need to learn to manage your expectations, and not because you're gonna come out with a lesser rat, but because you're going to come out with the rat that you were intended by the universe to come out with. So the rat you want may not be a rat that you yet know. You may have to create that rat and then decide then realize, oh, this is better than the rat I was imagining. Like this one, for example. I imagined this to be, I didn't have a color in mind, but I did ultimately, when I crafted it, I thought it was going to be a fun color. I didn't know what. Then I first thought it would work as a Louis rat, that color kind of failed on me. So my next thought was, well, maybe it's a naked rat, and I was getting a little bit of, upset with that, the way that was going for me. Didn't love the way the color was working out. And then finally I said, let me make this an all black rat with red eyes. And it turns out I really like this color scheme a lot. I do think I need to get a new whisker. Don't be cheap with your whiskers. If you feel something's off about your whisker, just go ahead and get yourself a new whisker. And I think this one needs kind of a glob on there, not that much of a glob. Let's not go off the rails here. And that's a little bit too much there. Don't go. I feel myself going straight into a whisker frenzy. I haven't been in a whisker frenzy for quite some time, but that's basically when you start picking and choosing your whiskers, picking and choosing, and you end up not choosing one of the current whiskers that you have. You end up just crafting a ton of whiskers, and you see, as I'm saying that, things do fall into place, and you see an example of that right there. So the previous whisker was not the whisker that was meant to go with this rat, and that's a good way to look at things. If it is not meant to be the whisker for your rat, simply move on, find another whisker, and keep in mind, folks, what's that saying? There are plenty of whiskers in the whisker pile. Is that what they say? Well, maybe it's not the right. See? Oh, it is doable. You just have to take your time and figure things out here. I want that whisker up a little higher. Hold the whisker in place. Now I am noticing that this is quite a large whisker slot right here, so I'm going to get a glob. That one for sure will need a glob. I'm 100% sure of that. And there you go. I do want it to be above these whiskers. And there you go. Perfect. So just whatever's going on in your life, just take a second and think about it. Is it worth flipping out over a whisker? Is it worth letting a whisker ruin your whole day? It's not. 99% of the time. There are rare instances where I would say yes. This whisker is causing you enough grief that it is time to have a little bit of a meltdown. You are entitled to a slight meltdown here and there, but all in all, let's keep it professional and let's save those whisker meltdowns for really, really only necessary scenarios. And same with ear meltdowns. So once in a while, people want to have a meltdown because their ear isn't what they wanted. And you've seen it almost happen to me. I've come very close on the channel before to have a color meltdown, ear meltdown, whisker meltdown, and change the game up, repaint if you gotta repaint, and everything's gonna be okay. So that's your rat of the week right there. Front view, side view, and I will put the pictures up. Thank you for being here, and hopefully we will see you next time.